Hello and welcome to the Slingshot channel. Last time when I presented to you my double bow, that is actually a draw length assisted sliding instant Legolas, I asked you, is that gonna be the last instant Legolas video? Would be a shame, right? Because it's so much fun to shoot with this thing. And the great majority of you guys said, please, please, please make the compound version with 2 compound bows instead of 2 recurves. And I actually think that's exactly what I should do. What I've done, by the way. But I've also decided, since a lot of people wanted to see more slingshot content, that every video that I do now that does not contain a slingshot naturally will feature one of my older devices that I still have in my collection. So I will present it to you anew. But first, compound assisted bows. Is that possible? It is. Let me show you what I came up with. Meet the draw-assisted compound double bow with a sliding instant Legolas. And let me show you its features. So as you see, those are 2 exact identical bows. And these are EK Archery Assassin, also known as Excalibur bows. It's like the top of the line, even though these bows are really not expensive. They're about 200 euros complete. In any case, as you see, I mounted them with just a little bit of wood so that they are actually in line. And of course, now you would ask yourself, why is this kind of shifted? Why is this not perfectly aligned? Well, it is perfectly aligned. But these are 2 bows for right-handed people, like myself. And therefore, of course, the handle is underneath the line of the arrow. Always on a bow, of course. So that you would have to turn them around to actually allow the sled to really slide through the middle here. So the alignment is all about the line of the arrow and not where the handle is. If I would have used a bow for a left-hander as a second bow, then I could have mirrored it exactly. But this is the correct way to align 2 bows for a right-handed person. Now the big advantage of these bows is they're completely adjustable. And that is necessary because to really benefit from the draw assistance, the front bow must be weaker than the rear bow. It must have about half the draw weight of this one here. And as you see, you can adjust these bows by just turning in or out these screws here. And therefore you can see that the front bow is set a lot weaker than the rear bow. So that is so that the draw assistance works. But they're also adjusted in terms of draw length. Why is that? Well, first of all, I wanted the pre-stretch. See, this bow is pre-stretched, and which is a good thing because in fully drawn out condition, you can see that there is assistance even in the fully drawn out condition. And in order to do that, of course, I have to set this bow to a longer draw. Since otherwise, if I push it all the way to the front, this would not be possible, since it would be at the end of the draw length already. So these bows are adjustable here. As you can see, you can adjust them in different positions. You have to do this on both cams, of course. So the rear bow here is currently set to 25 inches, and the front bow is set to 29 inches, because I have a 4-inch pre-stretch. And that makes it possible to really tune these bows to perfection. And of course it really means that shooting the bow is so much easier because, see, this is equilibrium. This means they are now in balance. And as you see, of course, the front bow is much more stretched out than the rear bow. And that is because it's only having half of the draw weight. But still, overcoming the draw weight is now super easy and smooth. It feels like nothing. Okay, but it shoots just as hard. Now first, let's go and check how the draw weight changes by using a set of scales to find out how much of a draw weight we have without the assistance and then with the assistance. Okay, this is with support. One more time. One more time. Now we are taking the support off, like so. Very hard with this thing here. Okay, that was pretty clear. So with the assistance, the maximum draw that I have is about 30 pounds. And without it, I would have to overcome about 55 pounds. So now I never have to invest more than 30 pounds of a draw and I get 55 pounds out of it. So the front bow is set to 25 pounds, which makes sense. 25 plus 30 makes 55, so almost nothing is lost. It's a very, very efficient setup. A lot of people now ask, why just not using a weaker bow? Because, you know, you lose all this energy, all this shot energy, because this has to be subtracted, which is not the case. Because see, of course I have to invest all the energy first, but then when I draw out, you can see that the string is actually running completely free. So the front bow has absolutely no effect on the shot itself. It just stays the same. There is no difference. So the arrow speed is the same. And I'm going to prove it by using a crony. Okay, in order to find out if this is really shooting with the same power with or without the engaged front bow, we're now going to crony those shots. So I have an FX Wada, which you can buy in my store. Link down below. And you can see the result here. Let's see if it works. It worked! We got 85 meters per second. Not bad. 278 FPS. I'll try again. .86 meters per second. That's pretty reliable. And now I am disengaging the rear string, like so. And now I'm shooting without the front bow erecting at all. So like this, see now it's of course effortless, but a lot harder to cock. Okay, as you see, 85 meters per second, so we get the exact same reading with or without the front bow engaged. And it is clear. I mean, why should this be any different? The string just travels as freely with or without the front bow engaged. So it's clear. Now this one I used before, but what I did do, as you see, I converted it to shoot different arrows, because the short arrows that I made originally were not accurate enough to my taste. So I used these originally, and now I'm changing over to these. As you see, they're significantly longer. And but of course I had to shorten the vanes a little bit because otherwise the contraption would have been too narrow. And as you see, I can now fit 6 of them into the magazine, even though the manufacturer only recommends 5. And also, as you see, I removed the roller and the rubber bands that I originally used to make room for the crazy bow contraption. But also, it is so weird that it's actually a lot of fun. Bang! 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 Alright, I promised to you to also include a slingshot, so I present to you this one here. As you see, it's one of my very early models. I think I made it in 2011 or maybe 2012. I forgot the name it carried, but it looks a little bit like a spread eagle, don't you think? And It is actually a pre-tensed slingshot. It uses ordinary rubber bands just for commercial, like True Mark slingshots, but of course they're pre-tensed, so there is actually zero dead play in the whole thing, and this is achieved by a set of pulleys. So the bands go here over the pulley, and then here, and then again through the pulley until they reach this point here. And it is actually, I think, aesthetically a very pretty slingshot, and it also shoots well because you shoot it a little bit like a bow that you hold sideways. So let's try. And actually this rubber has been on it all these years, so it's probably 8 or 9 years old, and actually this ball is not suitable since the hole in the middle of this is too big. I need to fetch some bigger ammo. Okay, bigger ammo. Ah, much better. Now as you see, when I shoot, I stretch this out, and as you see, you can really stretch out the bands long. So even though there is pre-tension, I can still draw behind my ear. And of course, with a little bit of practice, aiming is not so hard. You can of course also hold it just like this. As you see, it is a lot of fun, and it's actually quite comfortable to hold, and I think the optics are superb. What do you think about this slingshot? Let me know. Since then I gave up working with all these pulleys and so on, because they also eat energy and they are not very good for the bands. But on the other hand, as you see, tubular bands are quite tough. But I have to say that I still prefer my little dancing insect bow here. Because it is so lightweight, and it's also aesthetically far more pleasing, I think. And actually I asked Maria, the model, if she wanted to come back and shoot with it, because she shot the original one without assistance. And she said she would love to, and she would probably even bring her little brother, who is just 7 years old. Looking forward to meeting that chap. Even though I can probably not bring him on in the video because of the COPPA regulations. They make it tough to show anything that has to do with kids. Anyway, I hope you like this, because that's it for today. Thanks, and bye. Bye. I'm a little close to the target. Seems like my group is a little bit high.